Hey, what up, my dudes? It's Space Roach, and we're digging into this Sandboxxer mode in Underdogs VR. It's the the sandbox builder mode, make your own levels and whatnot, and then fight in them and have other people fight in them and leaderboards and all that good stuff. So we jumped in, and they had this series of tutorial videos that were linked in from YouTube. They weren't super high quality videos, and the voice was sped up a bunch, but they did get to the point. They showed us all the basic stuff, so I did learn what I needed to know going in. I'll give them credit for that. And it does say at the top the new tutorial drops in a few days, so we're looking forward to that one. So then I jumped in to making my own level. First thing we did was dropped a bunch of hazards and random cars and stuff. I didn't realize in the beginning that the play area was bigger than the little yellow box, so I set up this entire thing in this really small area. That becomes problematic, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. Of course, I ended up dropping a crap ton of enemies in this area, like a bunch. They're all just clustered up. It's a pack of alpha dogs that I made. Had to secure in some fencing behind to fully enclose ourselves in what's definitely going to be doom. Took the time to set up all the level rules. You can set it to where it goes a certain amount of time, or until you die, or until you kill a certain amount of enemies, which is pretty cool. You can also set up the default loadouts for the level, which you can also leave the option for people to change that to whatever loadout they want. I did on mine. It also has spoiler alerts for stuff that you don't actually have, so you have the option of whether or not it shows it to you or not. So I've got this basic thing set up. Let's go ahead and test it. And this is how it started. Disaster. That's too many things in a small area. I'm getting attacked by everything at once. It caused my frame rate to drop a little bit because the Quest 3 is just like, nah, dude, why are you doing this? Eventually I fought it down to where there weren't a whole lot of them, but even then, you see the result on this one. I died. It was pretty bad. We went back to the drawing board. First thing I did, of course, is pull out all the walls. We're going to expand this place all the way to the maximum amount, which is actually a lot of space. Like, you can make these arenas pretty big. In the default arena, you don't need to place a bunch of walls. You don't have to place walls at all. The default arena size is a big square, and it has outer borders. So I went ahead and moved all of my bugs. I moved my mech. The place started looking a little lonely, so I added a bunch of extra enemies. I also took this as an opportunity to space out that mega cluster of bugs. We went ahead and slid them back. We moved some of the hazards around, some of the randomly placed objects. I mean, everything just got spaced out a little bit, you know? I mean, there's still a lot of stuff in there, but it's not super clustered up. And then, of course, to further reduce the amount of enemies starting out on the screen, we went ahead and made some dependencies to where when some things die, other things spawn up. That was actually really easy to do. You don't even have to go into a second menu necessarily to do that. You can hover over a thing and set a dependency to where when it dies, it spawns this other thing, or if something spawns, it automatically kills a different thing. And it was fun to make these correlations. We ended up with a giant spider web of stuff. I made it to where some of the harder stuff ended up spawning after you killed low-level enemies, which is going to be a fun surprise for people that go back and play this level later on. And then I went ahead and dropped a boss on the map with a random correlation that I'm not going to show you, but there's a thing that you kill that just makes a boss happen. All this, of course, set up to where, you know, not all the enemies spawn in at once. The playthrough is a little bit longer, a little bit more fun that way. So I went ahead and set up all these correlations where when one thing dies, another thing spawns, and it's usually a slightly more difficult thing, or something that blows up, or every once in a while just a random object just because I'm weird like that. And of course, now that we've changed everything else, might as well change the default loadout again, even though, like I said, you can change it to whatever you have, or whatever your preferred loadout is. And now that I've got everything pretty much the way I want it, or at least I think the way I want it, we're going to go ahead and save. I'm going to publish it under a different name this time. The first one was such a disaster, I don't want it to be associated with the new map, so we're changing the name. This one's going to be the Space Time Challenge. Since you're, fighting roaches, there's the whole space roach thing going on there. Now that we've renamed, I'm going to go ahead and do one more quick check of the settings. I actually changed my mind about survival mode. I think when people die, it should still tally up how many of the enemies they killed before they died, so we're going to tick that one. And now people that die can still make it onto the scoreboard. I like that. We'll go ahead and publish the new level. There's the Space Time Challenge, the hellish and exhausting test creation from Space Roach VR. And now we play it. So far, so good. Everything's a little bit more spaced out. I'm getting attacked by a whole bunch of low-level enemies in the beginning. This is a problem, though. I get hit by all the roaches in the beginning, and all the alpha dogs and crazy boosted alpha dogs that they were supposed to spawn went ahead and spawned. So I'm getting attacked by all this stuff. I ended up actually really liking the stabby, slicey blade. I can't remember what the name of it was. And then one of the bots explodes and actually takes my whole friggin' right arm off, having to finish the whole last of the thing with just my left arm. So now we're dancing around with just the one arm, trying to stay alive for the end of this. Here comes the last few seconds. I'm going to maybe try to bash one more dog, and there's the end. I ended up with 36. That is the record standing right now. I hope someone comes into Space Time Challenge and tries to beat it. I enjoy using Sandboxxer. It was a cool level builder. It was really easy. It was simple enough for someone like me to use. Thanks for watching the video. Until next time, my dudes, live long and prosper. This is Space Roach VR.